Hello everyone, and welcome to a bit of a different video. Today, I decided to share my bad opinions about cars that have gone out of production this past year for the United States market. And because they've gone out of production, my opinions don't matter anyway because they've already stopped making them. Without further ado, I have some very scientific categories for this tier list. Because, of course I had to do a tier list because, that's what the YouTube algorithm likes, or something. I don't know much about the YouTube algorithm, as you could probably tell by my previous videos. I mean, I made a whole video about a car called the Chevrolet Chevy. Probably has the worst search engine optimization of any video ever. But anyway, the first vehicle on this list is the Ford Edge. I don't exactly know where to put this because objectively, it's a very forgettable crossover, and honestly, we have far too many crossovers anyway. But I don't know, the Ford Edge kind of has a personal thing for me, because, my aunt had two Ford Edges, actually. And just because of that, I'm just gonna say it's a little disappointing. There was also, the ST version, which actually didn't look too bad, in my opinion. Still kind of a disgrace to the ST name, but anyway. Next, we have the Chevrolet Bolt EV and EUV. These are little electric cars that they were supposed to be like Tesla killers, and they're pretty small and they're pretty efficient. They don't have that much range. They don't have that large of batteries. Basically, they're the kind of electric car that would actually be okay for the environment. And because of that, GM is discontinuing it so that they can build Hummer EVs and other 7,000-pound electric vehicles that are totally going to save the planet. So, I wasn't necessarily particularly fond of the styling or anything really, but just on that simple nature, I'll say it's a little disappointing, especially the EV. The EUV is kind of stupid. Anyway, we have the Mercedes-Benz Metris. The thing is, in America, we don't like small vans, as you're gonna see later on in this list. So yeah, but also I don't really know. I guess. Yeah, small vans are useful, so I'll just put that there. I'll just put that at the end of a little disappointing. We've had so much variety in this list so far, as you can clearly see. Next we have the Mercedes-Benz CLS, which when it first debuted was really a styling statement. It sort of spawned the four-door coupe trend that I hate. I like the cars. I just don't like that they're called four-door coupes because they have four doors, and that is not how coupes work. But the CLS is sort of a victim of Mercedes' bizarre product planning because it's kind of similar to the AMG GT four-door coupe, especially since they've been introducing slower versions of that. And it's pretty much the same size as an E-Class sedan, but it's more expensive, and people aren't really buying sedans anymore. So yeah, I hate to say this, but for the past many years, I kind of forgot that the CLS existed, if I'm honest. So as good of a car as it probably is, and especially the first two generations, it's a little forgettable, especially considering all of the other Mercedes products that are pretty similar to it. Next, we have something I could rant about for a very long time, which is the Kia Rio. So as of last year, the Kia Rio was one of only 3 affordable subcompact cars that you could buy in North America, excluding the Mini Cooper, I guess, but that's not really affordable, to be honest. And everyone wants some weird crossover thingy now, and because the Kia Rio is a normal, sensible car that is cheap and built to be cheap, but it gets you where you need to go, and it's reliable, but it's not flashy. Everyone's like, oh, but I would rather have the Seltos or something. And it's all BS. I made a whole video about crossovers. Honestly, I think this is a sign that the world is literally ending. The car itself, I don't really care about, but it's basically just a sign that all is wrong in the world. Anyway, next we have the Ford Transit Connect. Pretty much the same thing as the Mercedes Metris, but I think I kind of prefer the way these look a little bit. So I'm just gonna put that there. It's another small van that America doesn't want. Now we have the Mazda MX-30, which is this electric car that you could only buy in California and had like 100 miles of range, but it cost like $45,000. I mean, I like the fact that Mazda was trying to be eco-friendly with a small battery. The thing is, you just can't charge $45,000 for a car with 100 miles of range. So, honestly, because of that, I think they probably sold like 2 of them. So I kind of forgot they existed, if I'm honest. Next, we have the Jeep Cherokee. I do not give a crap, actually, because this Cherokee is not really... If this was, like, the XJ Cherokee, or, like... This is not. This is based on, like, the Dodge Dart platform, so I don't really care. Next, we have the Ferrari Portofino M, which kind of cool. Not really my thing, but it got replaced by the Roma convertible anyway, so it's not even really gone. Next we have something that's technically not discontinued yet, but will be by the end of 2024. And this one's kind of surprising, although not really, considering the way the industry is going. The Chevrolet Camaro. It's sort of always never sold as well as the Mustang and even the, Challenger. And objectively, like, these are actually really good handling cars for, like, American muscle cars. They're more sports car than muscle car these days. They're very good, like, performance per dollar. There's they kind of have a little bit of a reputation, but for the Camaro, I'm willing to overlook that, and I'd say, like, rest in peace, Camaro. Rest in peace. You did good. Anyway. Next we have the Mazda CX-9, which, again, it basically just got replaced with the CX-90, which has a longitudinal inline-6 and rear-wheel drive. So I'd say that's something better. Now we have the Chrysler 300C. I mean, I don't know how this thing survived so long. I mean, this came out in like 2005 or something, and it really didn't get changed much. Like, I've been in the inside of one of these, and it feels old. Like, really old. Yeah, but, you could get them with a V8, and the design is really, like, it has aged incredibly well and was very well executed, I think. Especially, like, the, facelift ones. So I think that, I think I'm gonna miss the 300. I'm gonna put it I'm gonna put it at the top of a little disappointing. I'm gonna, no, I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna put it in rest in peace. All right. Next we have the Mercedes, I think that's the C-Class Coupe. Very good looking car in my opinion, kind of disappointing, but there is going to be the CLE, I think. It's going to replace basically the C-Class and E-Class Coupe, so both of these. I mean, I don't know if the CLE is going to be better though. I don't know if I quite like the way it looks as much as the C-Class Coupe. And so, I don't know. For that reason, I'm probably going to put them in a little disappointing. Alright, next, this one, the Kia Stinger. So this was sort of, I think, more of a brand and marketing exercise than, like, something that was supposed to sell really well. And if you don't look at it by pure sales volume, I think this car was a really decent success because I think Kia is a lot more respected of a brand these days. And I think it's because of cars like this that actually had some serious, like, performance, and in my opinion, this thing looks really good. Like, the fastback kind of, design, and they didn't call it a four-door coupe. Take notes, Mercedes. And, yeah, I think this is pretty sad. It was never really a massive seller, and it's just, I think, they've been saying that Kia was going to discontinue this car for the past, like, 3 years. It's like kind of continually cheated death, but nevertheless, I think that deserves to rest in peace. The Audi TT. terrible name for a car. Truly awful name for a car. However, with that being said, it's not my favorite car. And, you know, to be completely honest, they're kind of like fancy VW Golfs underneath. However, the TTRS, the 5-cylinder, it sounds so good. And honestly, the RS versions look pretty good too. And you know, it's just nobody's buying like 2-door sports cars anymore. The TT, it was really like a very monumental car for Audi, especially when it came out. You know, it may or may not have, you know, been prone to losing control at high speeds when they first launched, but that was a while ago, so we're just gonna put it up here. Alright. McLaren 720S, I don't even know why I bothered, because it's just replaced with the 750S, which is the same car. I think they literally just made one-piece body color, and that's about it. Innovation. Anyway, this one, yeah, the Audi R8. I mean, incredible sounding car. Very important car for Audi as a brand, especially in the mid-2000s, to try to raise their image to compete with BMW and Mercedes. And it's really just a very, like, accessible, by the standards of supercars, which are inherently inaccessible. This is a very accessible supercar. You can actually drive it every day, and used ones are not particularly expensive, all things considered. Yeah, I think the thing here is that this basically represents the end of like the naturally aspirated V10. Once that engine is gone, there will be no more naturally aspirated V10s that I know of. But great car. So, and because of the V10 ending, I'm gonna say that the world, if we can't have our V10s, I mean, like, what's the point anymore? The world is literally ending, guys. Next is the Nissan Maxima. Back in the day, this was kind of a cool car, like, especially in the 90s, like, pretty good looking cars. And honestly, I mean, I don't hate the new one. It's just that it has a CVT, so it's a large sedan in a world of crossovers, and it was barely any bigger than the Altima and like significantly more expensive. The truth is that while this car really is quite a legend, and it's been around for something like 40 years or something like that, past it a while, people who might have thought they were a little too good for Altimas, but really they still had the big Altima energy. And therefore, hate to say it, but I think society will be better off without the Nissan Maxima. I really want to put it up here, but the truth is that, you know, in addition to big Altima energy, there's the Maxima energy is really quite large as well. So, that's just the way it is. As I said, this is a very objective list. You know, talking about the quality of the cars, where the Kia Rio is at the top of the tier list. Next, we have the Dodge Challenger and Charger. Objectively, really freaking cool cars, and actually a little bit perplexing as to why they're canceling it, because they sell so well. But I mean, they're going like more electric in the future, which is good, and they're also going to offer like the new Charger with an turbo inline 6, which will be, I'm quite interested in that. I think that'll be pretty cool. But as for the old school V8s, like, this is pretty much the end. And these are, I do like the way these cars look and sound, but the truth is that if you've been on an American road, you know very well that if someone is driving a Charger around you, you need to run. You need to get out of your car. You need to get on the side of the road, far away from them, and then just start running into the woods. Even then, there's no guarantees that you'll survive the attack of a Charger or Challenger driver, but I think, you know, the fact that they're finally gonna stop making these is, I think, it's a benefit to society, really. Next, the Jeep Renegade. It's a cute little car, crossover thingy. I think they did a better job with this than the Cherokee, because it actually looks like a Jeep. I guess it's a little disappointing. And then we also have the Porsche Panamera Sport Turismo. Last but certainly not least. It makes sense why they're getting rid of this car, because it was a very niche model on a very niche model. I don't think Porsche sells very many Panameras, and they definitely don't sell very many station wagon Panameras. But this is actually, I really love this car, honestly, because if I had like unlimited money and I needed a daily driver, I think this would be very high on the list, because it just sort of gives you everything. It's practical, it looks good, it's fast, and it's unique. And honestly, I think just because this sort of symbolizes the end of station wagons, especially in America. Really, the world is really ending. I mean, we can't dethrone the Kia Rio, of course. I mean, but you know, the world is literally ending, guys. So that's my very objective tier list, with a Kia Rio at the top and a McLaren 720S at the bottom. That's how that works. Very objective measurements. I'm sure the comments will be very appreciative of my opinions. Yeah, with that being said, I know this was kind of a different video, but I still hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.